Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to League Racing TV for round 4 of the TTML Division 3 Championship. My name is Aidan Carter, otherwise known as Commenters. I will be taking you through Division 3 proceedings as always. And as always, joining me in the commentary box for Division 3 on a Thursday evening is TTG Conti. Conti, how are you this evening?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. Looking forward to tonight's race. It's been close every week so far. So yeah, excited for tonight.
Yeah, really excited. Obviously coming into round 4 of the season, coming to Baku for the first time this season, the first time in TTML. We'll come to Baku, which is, fair to say, very different to the tracks we've had already this season. Obviously we had some brilliant races, but coming into Baku, we're kind of expecting really a bit of craziness, aren't we, tonight?
Yeah, I really don't know what to expect. It could go all horribly wrong. I mean, walls left and right. Turn one can be a horror, or it's going to be a beautiful race. I mean, there are some good spots to overtake, some nice straights and DRS spots. So yeah, it could go either way.
It really could, and it's fair to say so far this season we've had, well, 3 really, really amazing races to keep our championship alive, really. It's been such a good season so far, and we're only 3 rounds in. Everyone getting ready then for qualifying. But just a reminder of what happened last time out then. It was B. Morgan who picked up his second race victory in a row. He's our first repeat winner of the season. Simply Superman finished on the podium for the second time this season. He finished on the podium doing the alternate strategy. He started on those medium compound tyres, went for something different. Or started on the hard, sorry. He started on the hard compound tyres in 11th place, spun on the opening lap, and recovered to a second place finish, which is almost identical to what happened to him in Bahrain. And TTG's Sean, who's had a real upturn in pace in recent races. It really started in the latter stages of last season. Coming into this season, he's been a lot more confident, and he picked up his first podium last time out in Spain. And for Sean, that is a massive increase in pace, and he's going to be very confident heading into tonight's race.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, we all know he has the speed. He just didn't show it until last week, and it was just a great drive, showing good speed, and finally a podium finish for Sean.
Yeah, something to really boost his confidence and hopefully spark his championship hopes. Just speaking of the championship, let's run you through the championship order. As you would expect, after 2 wins in a row, it is B. Morgan that leads the way, but only by 3 points. Simply Superman has had a very good start to the season as well. He's second place in the championship. Old School currently runs in third place on 51 points, so 14 points back from second place man Simply Superman. Hero Jokin, having missed that third round of the season, is down to 4th. He was leading the championship going into the third round of the season with a win in the opening round and a 7th place in China, but he's down to 4th now. He's level on points with Jan in the Mercedes. Isotopic runs in 6th at the moment, ahead of Kiki in 7th, who has missed out on a podium, I think, in all 3 of the opening 3 rounds. It's been likely he could have ended up on the podium in all 3 of those events, and it just didn't come together for him. Lighty and Sean level on points in 8th in the championship. They're on 36, and Alex rounds off the top 10 on 33 points in the second Ferrari. So all the way down, really, from B. Morgan down to Alex. Obviously, B. Morgan needs over 2 wins, but the top 10 in terms of points, really, really close together.
Yeah, it's 33 points. Oh no, it's a little bit more. It's 35 points from P1 to P10. And I just noticed that Simply Superman, who has what you mentioned already, a great start to the season, he isn't here tonight. So it's all for the grabs, and then it could cost you quite a few places if you don't do a race, if you skip one.
Yeah, if you do skip one, obviously we run an alternative point system here in TTML, so missing a race actually costs you even more points than it usually would if we were running the regular point system in Formula 1, so that's going to massively cost him, especially with a shorter season like we have, only 11 rounds, so missing even one race could massively affect your championship bid, and Simply Superman misses tonight. That's what Hero Jokin pulled off last week as well. He wasn't here last week and he's already dropped 3 places in the standings because of it. He's back though tonight, so we'll wait and see what he can do. Someone's already crashed, well, 2 people I think have already crashed in the castle section on this lap. One of them was Damon in the Haas. He's missed his front wing, missing his front wing completely, and I think that was Steve directly behind him, I think maybe avoiding him, but Damon he's joined, obviously, he joined in Spain last time out, had a torrid race in Spain, so let's see if he can come back with a bit of a punch tonight. Unfortunately, he's already got off to a horrible start, missing his front wing on the out lap. He's not even been able to make it to the start of his first lap, but we're going to ride on board with the Alfa Romeo of TNR Frederick. He's going to be the first person to set a lap time for Team Norway. Let's see what he can do as he heads into turn 1. This is a very, very technical track. The opening sector, not too difficult. It's a lot of 90 left and 90 right corners. Fairly simple, fairly reminiscent of Singapore if you think about it. Just a little bit of a bigger gap really between corners. Through 2, nice and neat coming out the exit of the corner. Second DRS straight on the track. This one is only 2 DRS straights here, but they are very powerful. Now into the break-ins over turn 3. Second best overtaking opportunity on the track. And now into turn 4, a 90 right-handed corner. The first right-handed corner on the track. Coming out of the corner, don't run too wide, don't hit the wall. Nice and neat again, and now into 5 and 6. A little bit of a chicane this one, a very slow exit to this corner. Don't hit the curb on the inside, it can bounce your car quite heavily. And now down towards turn 7 hairpin. Don't do a Nico Hulkenberg, don't turn in too early and whack that wall on the inside, it will break your front wing. And now into the castle section, turn 8, 9 and 10. So easy to get that wrong, but nice and neat from Frederick, not pushing the limits. And now over the crest of the hill, and now into this little back straight, just full of little kinks here. Flat out all the way through, but in the race you can see people run side by side through here, especially if someone has picked up damage. They will be very slow through the castle section. This off camber downhill left-hander, so easy to hit the wall as Frederick understeers a little bit midway through the corner, and now through the last proper corner on the track. This one so crucial to get this lap right, to get your lap started, and he's actually going to get a little bit of a toe off of his TNR teammate Steph, but Steph actually had such a poor run out of that corner, you might hold him up just a little bit, and there might be a bit of dirty air hindering him through that corner, but it doesn't look like it's done him too much harm, and he will stick in behind Steph coming up to the line. He's going to get a nice toe from the Haas drivers. He now comes up to the line, then a very long run down to the start-finish line, and it is a 38.7 from Frederick. First lap in qualifying. That's a pretty decent lap to start off the session with. Directly behind him, Topic goes into second place, a 38.8, a tenth of a second behind. We have had a couple people leave the lobby, unfortunately, so fingers crossed they can join back. But 2 people already into the 38s. Expect pole today to be a low 38, maybe a high 37 if someone nails their lap. Steve now goes in between them with a 38.8, and Tekken has retired. So I don't know if he's retired on track. It looks like he might have done. He's retired, unfortunately. It's now B. Morgan, 2-time race winner, goes into provisional pole position with a 38.4, 3/10 of a second clear of everyone else so far.
Yeah, I believe Tekken has a qualifying ban that he should have had last race, but he didn't get the message, so that's probably why he retired now. But yeah, it's some great first lap from especially B. Morgan, so it's a great time, and yeah, I find it really difficult to say what to expect for a pole time. Normally, I could say yeah, it's in between this and that, but yeah, it's a really difficult track with low grip as it is a street circuit. So yeah, I won't burn my finger on a prediction on this one.
Probably best not to. It would be best to keep our doors open for that one. Harry Nawag's picked up a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Tekken's car. So Harry Nawag already compromised in this session, down in 8th place on a 40.5. Not really a representative time at the moment. Old School's jumped into 2nd place on a 38.7, only 25 thousandths of a second ahead of Frederick. I believe we had Kiki cross the line, but he didn't. I think he might have invalidated his time, so he's going for another run on the same set of soft compound tyres. One of the Haas cars crosses the line. I think that might have been Steph finishing his lap, and he goes into 6th on a 39 flat, nearly a 39 exactly. Next car to cross the line will be Damon to start his first proper run in qualifying, and this time round he's going to get to the line with his entire front wing intact, so he will be able to actually do a lap around Baku. I believe Jan will cross the line soon. Oh no, he's only just left the pit lane as well. That's Steve coming up to the line. So we'll ride with Damon then on his first lap in this qualifying session. Unfortunately crashed in qualifying in Spain coming out of turn 9, so let's see if he can get his whole way round a lap and see what pace he has coming into this season. Coming down that back straight then, down towards turn 3, puts it right to the right hand side of the track for the best line through this corner. Brakes at about 120 metres or so, a little bit late on the brakes, so understeers, taps the wall but gets away with it, I think. Now into turn 4, and then the turn 4, 5 and 6 chicane as well. See what he can do. His Haas teammate at the moment currently running in 6th place through the chicane, a 34.9 in the first sector, but again you just see on board with Damon, he's struggling a lot with understeer here. The front of the car just does not want to bite into the corners at the moment. You probably might want to change that. Well, you can't really change that anymore now that Park Ferme's in effect, so he can't really change that at the moment. He's going to just have to deal with it. Through castle section, very, very cautious through there. A little bit wide again at the top of the hill, just picking up a lot of mid-corner understeer, and now through this back straight once again, keeping it flat through these kinks, as I said earlier on. A little bit off camber that one as well, so you don't really want to run side by side if you can afford it. Downhill left-hander, hits the curb, and again understeers midway through the corner, gets away with it, but is still really struggling for front grip, and it's a 15 flat by the end of the second sector. And now the run to the line, maybe compromising in the middle sectors to try and get the best straight line speed he possibly can. Could help him in the race, but at the moment it doesn't seem to be helping him in qualifying. Kiki, meanwhile, he's gone into second place on those soft compound tyres, just ahead of his Williams teammate, so a good qualifying lap there for Kiki. And now here comes Damon then to the line. What's his time going to be? It looks like it might be in the 39, comes up to the line, and it's a 39 flat. He goes into 9th place, so we saw the amount of mistakes he was making on that lap, in the amount of understeer he had. Eyeing those mistakes out, and Damon could be right at the front of the field.
Yeah, I think he really has a high-speed setup, because his car just didn't want to turn in mid-corner. It was understeer, and he almost tapped the wall a couple of times. He is trying to use most of the tracks, entering on the outside, going into the corner, but yeah, he's really struggling to keep the car out of the wall.
Yeah, he really, really is. So let's wait and see if he can maybe just accustom to that as the session goes on. Obviously, that's his first full lap in the session, so we'll wait to see how he can improve as the session goes on. Jan's on a lap as well, his first lap in the session, currently equal 4th in points. Doing a good job this season so far. He really kind of lived in F1 AMG's shadow last season in the Mercedes team. Had a good couple of performances, but could never quite get to the front of the field. This time round, he's been right at the front, real front runner, a possible championship contender. So let's see how he can do on his first lap in qualifying. 15 flat was what Damon managed by the end of the second sector. Let's see where Jan is compared to that as he now comes up to that second sector line. 14.8, so a couple tenths faster at this point in the lap. This could put him up with his teammate, who's currently running in 5th place on a 38.8. Good lap from Steve as he now comes through that final sector completely flat, and it looks like he might get a little bit of a toe off his teammate as well, who is currently on an out lap getting ready to start his lap. So this is perfect for Jan in the final sector. He now comes up to the line. Where is this time going to put him? He's already hit the rev limiter, so it might not actually help him that much. He crosses the line, goes into P7 on a 38.867, 6,000ths of a second slower than Isotopic. Bless you there, Conti. But yeah, 6,000ths of a second slower than Isotopic. And once again, I mean, we've said it, I don't know how many times I've said it in D2 in the past, but qualifying once again, incredibly close, around one of the longest tracks on the calendar. That's incredible.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's quite a gap now between P1 and P2, B Morgan and Kiki, but just Kiki and everybody behind him. It's like they're shadows of each other. It's that close, and yeah, it's just incredible to watch. And what you say, it's a long track, so the longer the track, the bigger the gaps you expect. But no, it's still great to watch. And yeah, we said it every race so far. Great stuff from these guys, and the one who put these guys together, great job.
Yeah, they've done a brilliant job this season of making this division work. It's been absolutely brilliant. One of the Alpha Tauri cars coming to the line, so that will be Hero Jokin, but he's coming to start a lap. Currently 11th on a 39.1. You would imagine that he can get a bit further up in the field than that. Shout out to Martin Bell as well. This is Martin Bell's first race of the season in Division 3 in that Racing Point, as a reserve for Simply Superman, obviously running alongside his OWR teammate in that Racing Point, and that's a 39.3 on a set of medium compound tyres. That is if you think about it, he's down in 13th, so at the moment it won't really help him, but less than a second off of pole position on the medium tyres around a street circuit. That's a stunning lap from Martin Bell.
Yeah, it is, and there's not that many time in between the mediums and the hards, so yeah, imagine him going on to the softs. He can really be up there. I mean, I drove against him last season in Division 4, and it's a really quick guy.
Yeah, I have to wait and see what he can do for the rest of the night. Steve, meanwhile, has gone into P2 with a 38.5. That's a great improvement from Steve, the first person to get within a tenth of B Morgan, who is currently on a lap coming up to the line, and he's even faster. Wow, look at that middle sector. 3.5 tenths up on his personal best. He's flying once again as B Morgan, starting to set himself up to be the championship favourite. He crosses the line, a 38.1. So Steve got within a tenth of a second, and immediately B Morgan fires back and is again nearly 4 tenths. Well, is over 4 tenths of a second clear now of the rest of the field. B Morgan really asserting himself now as the championship favourite.
Yeah, he is. I mean, we knew he was quick, and normally qualifying sessions go to Old School, who just put himself in P2 with only 500 difference between B Morgan and himself. So yeah, this could be finally someone competing for P1, and it's pretty important for the championship as well, as pole position gives you 2 points.
Yeah, it does, of course, yeah, so that will be crucial for the championship as well. Like you say, Old School really has dominated qualifying proceedings so far, but at the moment, B Morgan taken to a hero, joking. As actually, as you say that, look at TNR Steph. Where has that come from? He got a great toe down the back straight from, I believe that was from Frederick that gave him a toe. So Frederick paid the favour back, and it's worked beautifully for Steph. He now goes onto pole position with a 38 flat, steals it from B Morgan. And I was about to say Hero Jokin as well, up to 4th. They both gained, I think, at least a second on their first runs in on their second run in qualifying. That's a massive time gain on their first runs in qualifying. And all of a sudden, talking about B Morgan and Old School being the class of the field, Steph's just scored a lot of them.
Yeah, incredible. And yeah, it seems like on the last run people are going into the 37 highs. So yeah, you are right. But yeah, I don't know where TNR Steph is coming from, because he wasn't really on my radar, to be honest. But he's doing great.
He's doing races. He's kind of been mid-pack really this season, hasn't he, so far? He's had some good races, but it didn't really quite work out for him in Spain last time out, and he's not quite got the points he probably would have wanted. As Harry Nawag coming through the top of the hill, whacks the outside wall. So easy to do at that corner, but Harry Nawag, once again in qualifying at least, seems to be really struggling. Harry Nawag's race pace much stronger than his qualifying pace, but again, struggling in that Renault, and with a 5-place grid penalty at the moment would put him dead last on the grid. So he's hoping to gain a few more places on the grid before that. Yono as well, currently 10th, is missing a lot of his front wing, so he's obviously made a mistake somewhere in the middle part of the lap. Frederick is coming up behind him on the road, getting ready to finish his second lap in qualifying. Where can the Alfa Romeo driver go? 38.7 on his first run. It was a good banker. Where could this put him in the session? Is it going to put him right to the front of the field? He crosses the line, and it's the 38.4, so it puts him ahead of Steve, but not quite in that top 5. Meanwhile, can I just say, Kiki's jumped up into 4th place in the second Williams. The top 5 around Baku are separated by literally a 1,000th under a 10th of a second. Could this get any closer?
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, yeah, what to say about this? It's just incredible. These guys are so close. Just one mistake, and yeah, and it's quality over for you. It's that close. Whoa.
I mean, where Hero Jokin's probably ruined the fact that he maybe, I don't know, he could have I don't know, he could have just got, I'm just thinking of something that could cost him 5,000ths of a second. But at the moment, 200ths of a second has cost him a spot on the second row with the grid. It's cost him 3rd place, and he's 5th at the moment. So even a tiny time gain for Hero Jokin could gain in a couple places on the grid. So let's wait and see what they do when they come out for their final runs. We've got Steve, Damon and Lighty out on their final runs, and Steve's actually just whacked the wall coming through the castle section on his outlap. So that's gonna, amazingly, he's not picked up any damage, or maybe he might have picked up a light bit of damage, but he clattered that wall and has somehow got away with it. So for Steve, that somewhat saved the end of his qualifying, because I don't think he would be able to get back out again after replacing his front wing in the pit lane. But that's incredibly lucky for Steve. So let's see what he can do on his final run as well. Let's see what Damon can do. He's only really done 2. This will be only his 2nd run in qualifying, so he's not had a full run. Neither has Lighty either, and Lighty's had a real turn of speed recently. He won on track, remember, in China, lost it on penalties, but has got a podium so far this season. Him and Sean really have had a very equal start to the season. So we'll ride with Lighty then. He's going to be the first of the final runs out in qualifying, and he might come out in a little bit of traffic on this lap as well. We'll wait and see as he crosses the line, coming into turn 1, rides over the curb on the right hand side a little bit just to try and get a bit of a squared off corner for turn 1, and now into the braking zone for turn 2. Again, clips that curb a little bit on the inside of turn 2, wobbles in the middle part of the corner, somehow just gets away with it. So he should be all right in terms of traction coming out of turn 2 and down towards turn 3. Once again, hits the brakes nicely, coming through the corner, hits the curb on the inside once again. You don't really see a lot of people doing that around this track. You tend to stay away from the curbs because they are quite high. He stays away from it in turn 4, doesn't want to touch that curb behind him. So here we go into the end of the first sector, and he's 3/10 up on his personal best first sector. So let's see what he can do throughout the rest of the lap. It's usually the middle sector, you would say, where you would gain the most time. The most corners are in that part of the lap, and that is where you can be the most committed. Now into the hairpin and then come up towards Castle. Lighty struggling with a little bit of understeer mid-corner, maybe having the same effect as Damon, maybe going for something a little bit faster in a straight line. Now comes through the top of the castle section, takes a lot of curb on the inside, has to back out of the exit of the corner to not invalidate. So we had a little bit of a poor run coming down this straight, goes through the kinks nicely, keeps it to the left-hand side through the second kink, and then into the braking zone for this downhill left-hander. Flies over that curb, but gets stopped nicely, gets a good exit at the corner. By the end of the first sector, 14.66 tenths up on his personal best. This could put him right into the middle of the top 10. How is his final sector going to be? He's going to come up to the line. He might get a little bit of a residual toe off of the AlphaTauri in front of Hero Joker, but I don't think it's going to be close enough. So let's see where the Ferrari man can go. Damon directly behind him on track as well, on a lap. Here comes Lighter then up to the line. Like I said, an incredibly long run to the line. He seemed to wait forever for it to come up. Here he comes, keeps it to the right hand side, and he goes into 8th place on a 38.7. Damon behind him on the road crosses the line, does a 38.8, does improve his time, but doesn't improve his place on the track, so stays 12 for the time being. Good improvements for both of them, but it doesn't quite get them into the thick of the action at the top end of the top 10. Lighty only 8th on the grid then. So now everyone else at the front of the field starting their final runs. We've got one of the Williams coming onto the line. That'll be either Kiki, that's Old School, coming to start his final run. One of the McLarens coming up to the line. That might be Yono coming to the line. No, it's Vlores, sorry, coming up to start his final run. So now we've got one of the Renaults coming up to the line. That will be Harry Nawag starting his final run as well. And then it's Old School, and then it's Sean. And Sean is starting his lap directly behind Old School, so maybe hoping to get a toe off the back of him. But that's going to really compromise Sean's lap if he's stuck behind him for the whole of this lap. As we now wait for the next car to cross the line, which will be one of the Racing Point cars. I believe it is Martin Bell. It is Martin Bell on his first run on the soft tyres, flying in the middle sector. So let's see where he can go. Obviously, his only time in the session so far has been on the mediums, and it's a 39.3, so it's still very competitive. 0.8 of a second up by the end of the second sector. This could put him, like with Lighty, right in the thick end of the top 10. Let's see what he can do when he comes up to the line. Like Lighty, keeps it right to the right-hand side for the shortest run to the line. Keeps the car straight, and up to the line comes Martin Bell. What's the time going to be? A 38.3. Brilliant final sector as well, and he goes P6. Great improvement for Martin Bell.
Yeah, great driving. I mean, yeah, the gap between the softs and the mediums, or the softs and the hards, are so big. Yeah, this shows he is a really quick driver. And his cornering looked really good as well, because I think he runs a low downforce setup, what I saw on his straight line speed.
And B. Morgan has crossed the line and gone back onto provisional pole position. Hero Jokin couldn't improve on his time, so he stays 5th in the session. Lighty went for a second lap on those soft tyres, doesn't improve, so drops to 11th. As Isotopic, where has he come from? He was at the bottom end of the top 10 the whole session. Look at Steph's time, a 37.8. What an improvement from Steph. So Isotopic took it by 9 thousandths of a second, and then Steph blows the lot of them out of the water, goes back onto provisional pole. Old School doesn't improve on his time. Kiki is retired from the session, so neither Williams able to improve on 4th and 5th. Sean's backed off of his lap by the looks of things, was too close to the back of the Williams man through that lap, and from nowhere Steph takes pole position by a comfortable margin, and Isotopic jumps from the bottom end of the top 10 to second in one go.
Yeah, great. He was like a ghost the whole quali until now. A great time from him.
Brilliant stuff. So Steph then gets his first pole position of the season. That is by far his best qualifying so far. Isotopic on the front row alongside him. He'll be very happy with that in his championship battle. B. Morgan 3rd. He's ahead of his closest rivals. Then it's Old School, Kiki, Hero Jokin, Martin Bell on debut, Frederick, Jan and Steve rounds off the top 10. Then it's Yono, Lighty, Harry Nawag with a 5-place grid penalty, Damon, Sean, Vlores and Tekken. So Harry Nawag will drop to last on the grid because there's only 4 cars behind him. That will promote Damon up into 13th on the grid. And the top 10, I think, separated only by about 0.7 of a second in that session around, like I said, one of the longest tracks on the calendar. This is shaping up to be a very good race.
Yeah, and it's only that big of a gap because between P1 and P2 it's like 0.3 or something, 2 or 0.3. So yeah, it's really close. But in the end of the day, it is Baku, it is Azerbaijan, and you have to keep your front wing and your wheels on your car, or you're gonna lose a lot of places. So quali is one thing, but racing on this track is a completely different thing.
Yeah, it definitely is, and we already saw in qualifying, especially at the start, that people were putting it in the wall on the outlaps, so people already struggling to get their cars around this track without any sort of problems. So we'll have to wait and see how this one pans out. It does look like we're going to have a nice clear race for this whole one, so they don't have to worry, well, at the moment it seems, they don't have to worry about rain in this race, which is definitely a good thing. Although, I mean, saying that, we both commentated on that Division 3 race last season at Vietnam in the full wet conditions, and it was actually probably one of the cleanest races of the season. So, I mean, the wet conditions probably would actually put these guys in a different mindset. But just a word to Steph, though, that is a brilliant lap time from him, and easily his best qualifying position of the season so far.
Yeah, easily. I mean, yeah, he's always been, I think, mid-pack around P10, and him to go on pole this race on this track. I mean, grid position is really important on this around this track. It's great to see. So yeah, thumbs up for him.
Yeah, as easy as it is to overtake around here, you would be surprised at how crucial track position is here. But the dirty air you get, especially in the middle sector, can cause you to understeer into the wall, and it's very easy to gap people around this track because of, well, technically the pace difference, but at the moment it seems like Division 3 are all very close, so we might not get those gaps in the field. Just to show you as well how close this championship field is, B Morgan obviously our championship leader, third on the grid. Isotopic currently runs 6th in the championship, he's on the front row. Steph is 11th in the championship standings and has just taken pole position. I said it before and I'll say it again, hats off to the guys that organised this division and put these guys in this division, because it is so close that I think probably half the field could come away from this race with a race victory.
Yeah, they can, and that's why we really have a hard time predicting the podium. But yeah, hats off to you as well about that. You were spot on the last race, I believe.
I think I was actually, yeah, so fingers crossed. I hate to make another prediction because that's going to be incredibly difficult, but in terms of predictions then, as they get ready to come through the final sector, who do you... I don't know how you're going to choose this, but who do you think is going to be on the podium?
Yeah, well, Steph really looks fast around this track, so I'm going to put him on the podium for sure. Yeah, it's so close. It's so... Wow, this is a hard one. I'm gonna go for B Morgan on the podium and Jan.
Jan from 9th on the grid, fair enough. I think I agree with you on Steph. He looks very fast and very confident here, so I might go for him for the win. I think for second... Oh my word, for second place, I think I'm going to go for Old School second place in this race. And I'll tell you what, final spot on the podium, this is just my bold prediction because we've had a couple of surprise podiums. Look out for Martin Bell in this one. I think he could be a real threat for that third place on the podium, so look out for him in the second Racing Point. His Racing Point teammate then starts on the front row for the first time this season, so let's look out and see what he can do in the Racing Point. It's not been the best start to his season. We were predicting him to be a championship front runner coming into this season. It's not quite panned out that way so far, but we're early in the season still, so a long way to go, and he can find himself right back at the front of the championship after this race. But everyone lining then up at the back of the field. So it's Steph and Isotopic on the front row, followed by B Morgan and Old School, Kiki, Hero Joking, Martin Bell, Frederick, Jan and Steve round off the top 10. Obviously didn't have a look as well to see what tyres people are on before the start of this race, but it doesn't matter. Here come the lights ahead of the drivers. The lights are out fairly quickly. It's a short run to turn 1. Here they go then down towards turn 1. It looks a fairly even start. The Williams drivers both make great starts in the second phase of the start. Isotopic does very well to get up the inside of Steph into turn 1, but Steph gets the better run out the final corner. B Morgan was completely off the road coming out of turn 1, but keeps his third place. One of the Williams drivers has fallen back. Hero Jokins had a good start to this race. He's down the inside of Kiki, but isn't quite able to make the move stick. Frederick currently running in a good spot as well, as they now come down towards turn 3. They're fanning out in the background, trying to gain as many spots as they can. Not really anyone to why though coming into the corner. It's Martin Bell that's dropped a little bit behind both of... And oh my word, I think that was Steve running into the back of Frederick coming into turn 4, but I think he's got away with it for the second time tonight. He's getting away with no front wing damage, but they come towards the end of the first sector. It's Steph that still leads, Isotopic still second, B Morgan still third. Old School holds fourth ahead of Kiki, Hero Joking, Frederick, Steve and Jan the ones on the move up a place each themselves. Martin Bell's the man that's dropped at the start of this race. Damon's up to 11th place on the medium tyres. He's had a great start in the Haas ahead of Jono, the second medium runner, in 12th place. Everyone behind them on the hard compound tyres. Sean runs 13th ahead of Lighty. Harry Noir Flores and Tekken round off the field, so look out for those drivers on the alternate strategy. But Steph nearly lost lead at turn 1, but held it round the outside and is now already over a second clear.
Yeah, great stuff, and yeah, they all got through lap 1 clean. First few corners are really hard. You have to be patient. Sometimes when you think you see a gap, it closes really quick. So yeah, great stuff from these guys, keeping it clean, and TNO Steph is just gapping the pack, and Old School is having trouble to keep up with B Morgan as well.
We've seen this a couple of times where Old School struggles at the start of the race, it then comes back towards the end. We've got two drivers side by side in the background. I think that was the two Mercedes drivers going side by side across the line, but they stay in the same places. I believe, actually, I think Jan has got ahead of Steve. So Jan's been let through by his Mercedes teammate, so he's now going to have a run at Frederick in front of him. Obviously, the timing screens have adjusted themselves a little bit. They will readjust by the time we get to the end of the first sector, but everyone is through the first lap cleanly. Great to see around this track that everyone's been able to make it through. Damon's becoming a little bit detached from the queue of soft drivers in front of him, but you would expect that with him being on the harder compound of tyres. He's just got to try and stay within DRS range by the start of lap 3 to try and keep up with them, but he's doing a good job at the moment in 11th place. Then it is still Steph then that leads as they come to the end of the first sector. Second place still held by Isotopic, and at the moment no one really showing that they're in the wrong pace in terms of speed. Everyone's fairly distanced out, no one really going for the moves as of yet. Steph holds a comfortable lead over Isotopic, and Isotopic comfortable in second place. B Morgan third, Old School fourth, then Kiki runs 5th, Hero Joking runs 6th, Frederick running 7th as well. Everyone, I think, at the moment, all the way down to Damon is... Oh, Damon's gone off the road, yeah. Just as I was saying... Yeah, castle section has gone off and has massively damaged his front wing, and there's a virtual safety car for that damage, but is now on the track. So was running in 11th place, the lead medium runner, and has obviously understeered midway through that sector and has broken his front wing. There was another piece of front wing there as well. I didn't quite see whose that was. It looked like it was green, so has a Mercedes maybe lost his front wing or something like that. I don't think they have. They looks like they've got away with it. Wait and see if anyone else picked up damage in that castle section, but I don't think they have. So I think everyone else has got away with it. But again, Damon, we saw it in qualifying and in the race, and we saw it in Spain as well, just understeered midway through the castle section, and from a great position in 11th place on that alternate strategy, now last with barely any front wing, and he's going to have to hope for a safety car to bring it back into this one.
Yeah, he does. He does. I mean, the only thing he can do now is go to the hard tires and yeah, hope for a late safety car. But yeah, what I said earlier, it is Baku. It is a really difficult track. Safety cars are, yeah, there are quite a lot of safety cars here. So don't be surprised if he can hook on to the back of the queue again.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how this race pans out. Martin Bell trying to work his way back through the field. Then after that poor start, he's ahead of Steve, back up into 9th place. He obviously started this race 3 places on the opening lap, so he was the big loser. Everyone else around him gained because of it. Frederick was the man that up into 7th, Jan up into 8th place. So Steve's dropped back down into 10th. Can Martin Bell now head off after that second Mercedes of Jan and get back up into 8th place? We'll wait and see. Back to the front of the field though, Steph continues to lead ahead of Isotopic B Morgan. Old School's got his pace back up again. He's closed into the back of B Morgan now after that little bit of a poor first lap, and it's now seemingly Kiki the one that's struggling because he's become a little bit detached from this top 4 and is starting to hold Hero Jokin and Frederick up a little bit.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's the thing with this track. If you, especially in the first sector, if you make a little mistake, you carry just too less speed on the long straights, and it costs you a lot of time. So, yeah, I think he will come back to the back of Old School, and yeah, he's taking Hero Joker and Frederick with him, and there's a yellow flag.
There's a virtual safety car for some reason. Hopefully this isn't the same glitch that we had in Spain. Obviously the second half of the Spain race was a little bit tampered by having, I think, 5 virtual safety cars in a row.
Damon again.
Oh, Damon's retired from the session. What a shame for Damon. He's out of the race completely. He will not continue in this one then. He's out of the session coming out of turn 6, so he's obviously had some sort of incident maybe a little bit earlier on and lost his front wing. That is such a shame for Damon's race. Old School's used the opportunity to come into the pit lane, and so has Martin Bell. So this is very intriguing for their race, and I think Steve as well. So they've decided to come in a little bit earlier than you would expect. You would expect the soft runners to come in maybe around lap 6 or 7 to put the hard compound tyres on. They've come in at the end of lap 3, and Old School, Martin Bell, and not Steve, actually Steve has gone for the 2-stop strategy. He's put the mediums on. Old School and Martin Bell coming in early, putting the hard tyres on, and that ended perfectly for Old School. He was just out of the pit lane. That was almost Hamilton-esque. Comes out of the pit lane just as it ends, and he comes out just behind Tekken, who was running on his own at the moment, so he's obviously a little bit out of sync with everyone else. But that could massively help Old School in terms of track position, but we have seen in the past people pitting early massively suffering by the end of the race.
Yeah, you can suffer because your tires are just worn on the end of the race, or because you just get held up in traffic. I mean, if you take the normal strategy, you won't get held up as there are pretty big gaps forming then as everybody pits. But yeah, Old School has to pass Tekken relatively quickly, and he's in free air, so he won't suffer too much then. But yeah, just wait. We have to wait and see how the tires hold on then.
Oh, and Old School actually went a little bit deep into the castle section, almost came to a complete stop to avoid the wall. So already struggling for grip on these hard compound tyres. It takes probably about a lap or two for the hard tyres to really get into their working window around this track, because they're so shady, this track, and there's not really a lot of long corners to really warm your tyres up. So or is it going for... Oh, they're all closing up. All the top three are all close together. So who's going to go for a move here? Is anyone coming into the pit? So like Steph is committing to the pit. Steph has broken his front wing. That's why he's coming into the pit lane, and that's why Isotopic and B Morgan are all over him. So B Morgan's got the outside line for turn one. Isotopic takes the tight line through turn one. B Morgan tries to go around the outside. There's wheel-to-wheel contact. They both slide on the exit of the corner, but B Morgan gets the better of it, and he's ahead of Isotopic then. So B Morgan capitalising on Steph's mistake, and Steph from an easy race lead, looking comfortable in the race lead, breaks his front wing on his own, and that has gifted B Morgan another opportunity at a race victory.
Yeah, it does. And yeah, that's what I told before. You really have to keep your wing on your car. I mean, he was having an easy lead over Isotopic and B Morgan, and all of a sudden it's gone when you break your front wing. And yeah, he's in P14 now, suffering massively because of one little mistake around this track.
He's shot behind Martin Bell. That's how much time he's lost from the net race lead down to a net P9. That is a massive time loss for Steph. So he shot well down this field. Kiki came out directly behind his teammate. And actually, for Old School was further ahead than this than Kiki. Kiki was only... Well, Kiki was about 2 seconds behind his teammate by the time he came into the pit lane, and Old School still hasn't passed Tekken. So this strategy from Old School, reliant on him passing Tekken, and he can't get the move done, and he's a little bit stuck here. Old School came out of the pit lane with almost 100% ERS. He's halved that and still hasn't made the move stick, and actually hasn't gained anything on Kiki. So I'm wondering whether the undercut of this track doesn't work just because the hard compound tiles take a couple laps to really bed in. Yeah,
I think so. It's crucial for your exit on the corner. If you do that, then try it on soft, not on hot tires. He's really taking
that curve,
a lot of curve up.
He really is.
Yeah, he suffer on the exit then, but I think they're hot now, and he will pass him on this straight and probably take Kiki with him. But Martin Bell closed the gap as well.
Yeah, Martin Bell has closed the gap, and Steph is just off the back of this queue as well, so he's starting to get back into the swing of things. Here goes Old School then. Does he go for the move on Tekken this time around? He's got his overtake in use. He's using pretty much all of his reserves to try and get the move done on Tekken. Tekken's going to defend the middle of the road. Old School has to go the long way round. Martin Bell with the fastest lap of the race, and Old School's going to get that move done. Too late on the brakes though. Can he keep that car on the road? I think he can. Tekken just keeps him enough room, so Old School's able to get back on the road and get into 9th place. Kiki now trying to get the move done as well, and has a massive snap on the exit of the corner. That's going to allow Martin Bell a run, but he had to back off to avoid running into the back of him. And Martin Bell's jumped hero joking in all of this. He's come out in 13th place, so it's worked out well for Martin Bell as Kiki tries to move around the outside of turn 3. There's not enough room there. Now Martin Bell, look at this 5-car queue. They're all over the place as he's trying to get down the inside, but again, not enough room to get that move done. Now Steph trying to move on hero joking, trying to work his way back through the field, but it isn't close enough. Tekken doing a good defensive job there, holding on to 10th place, but Old School already a second and a half clear. You can see Tekken really struggling on these hard tyres, and this will now massively help Old School defending from the drivers behind, especially with these older compound of tyres that he's on compared to everyone around him. He's got 6 seconds to clear over in front, and now Tekken is going to massively hold up this queue of cars, and this will massively help those still out on the soft tyres, especially B Morgan and Isotopic, who at the moment look very set in their positions in 1st and 2nd place.
Yeah, they're just minding their own business, doing their thing. Putting in fast lap after fast lap, and look at the time Kiki lost on Old School. He was 3/10 behind him, and because he didn't find the room to pass Tekken, it's already 3 seconds. It's already 3 seconds behind Old School.
Coming on to the end of lap 6 then, and Isotopic and Frederick into the pit lane. B Morgan nearly spun the car coming out of turn 1, so you can tell that B Morgan is nearing the end of the life on these soft compound tyres. Where does Isotopic then come out relative to Old School? Old School then is in a lot of free air. Kiki now going for the move meanwhile on Tekken, but he's under pressure from Martin Bell behind as well. Kiki not really that close into turn 1 and is not going to go for the move. Not close enough on Tekken this time round. Isotopic out well clear of Old School then in net P2 in this race, and Kiki again trying to go for the move, but it's not going to pay off for him at the moment. Frederick comes out directly behind Steph in the Alfa Romeo meanwhile, so he's just close to the back of this field once again as now Kiki goes to the outside line for turn 3, and it looks like he's going to get the move done easily this time round, but he's completely used up his reserves of ERS to get the move done. He's ahead, but look at that, like you say, 2.2 seconds behind his teammates. So all that time he gained in the pit stop phase has been completely eradicated in one lap. And look at Martin Bell, my word, almost against the wall on the way down to turn 5 to try and get the move done. Tekken gives him just enough room on the inside. That was with a perfect amount of racing room, and they get away with it. And again, another 5-car queue, and still it just goes to prove that even with that long pit straight, it's so difficult to overtake here.
Yeah, it is. You really have to save up your ERS to do a move there. But yeah, to be fair to Tekken, we haven't seen much from him this season so far, but he's doing a great job keeping these guys behind him. I mean, his defensive driving is just superb. It's not too aggressive. He gives room where he should give room, but not too many room so they can overtake him easily. So he's doing a great job so far.
Yeah, he really, really is. B Morgan, meanwhile, stayed out for another lap, so he's still going on those soft compound tyres. Maybe trying to go so that he can put the medium compound tyres on, I wonder. We'll wait and see how that plays out. Jan's into the pit lane. Yeah, into the Mercedes from second place on the road, so we'll see where he comes out relative to this battle as they continue to fight. This is obviously holding the lot of them up. This could really help Jan in his battle with this Kuwa cars. He was right in the thick of it. He was in around Martin Bell and Hero Jokin before he came into the pit lane. As he comes out of the pit lane, coming out of turn 1, I think he's jumped a lot of them because Martin Bell still hasn't been able to get the move done on Tekken, and Jan, staying out that few laps longer, has jumped a lot of them because of it. So this alternate strategy of pitting under VSC for Martin Bell looked like it had worked out beautifully, but not being able to get the move done massively cost him. And now Tekken with DRS on the back of Jan, he's still not going to get the move done. So Jan's the massive beneficiary in this, and he's jumped all the way to a net P5.
Yeah, I really think after this race, Jan should send Tekken a nice bouquet of flowers or a cake or something, because Tekken really helped Jan in his strategy. Yeah, he's really gained a couple of positions because of it.
Yeah, and the people that this has massively hurt in this race as well. Steph, obviously, after replacing his front wing, Hero Jokin as well, was right in the thick of the battle with the two Williams cars. And as I say that, my word, he had a massive snap coming out of turn 7, just about holds onto it. But he's now right in the thick of this battle, well off the back of the two Williams cars, now nearly 5 seconds behind. And look at that, in one sector, Jan has gapped nearly 2 seconds on Tekken. That's how much Tekken is struggling on these hard compound tyres. I'm wondering whether the tyre life, even though they're going to make it to probably about lap 18, on these hard compound tyres without them actually reaching puncture territory. It looks like the pace drop off in these tyres is massive, as now Martin Bell goes for the move at one of the last corners on the track. Not going to get the move done, but will compromise Tekken's run coming out the corner. So now Martin Bell's down the inside for the kinks before the straight, and he's going to get the move done. So he tries to get the move done early, but this is now going to give DRS to Tekken. So can Tekken fight back as Lies is into the pit lane after breaking his front wing? B Morgan is in then to the pit lane to put on a set of medium tyres, so he's gone for a different strategy in this race. Here comes Tekken then down this straight. It's Martin Bell going right to the inside. They're 4 wide. Wow. What is this? And all of a sudden, Hero Jokin comes out in front. He's the one in the lead of this queue of cars. Steph's made it through as well. Martin Bell made the move stick too early and got swamped down the DRS straight. Steve's up, Tekken's down, Frederick's down as well. What a move from Hero Jokin to recognise that, back out of it and go for the move at the straight. He's gained all these places, and now he leads the queue of cars. It's one AlphaTauri swapped with the other one, and now they're at opposite ends of the queue of cars. That was brilliant from Hero Jokin.
Yeah, this is really incredible to watch. It's such good racing. I mean, normally we're watching the front of the queue because everything's going on there, but these guys are really showing some good race pace.
Old School's off the road. Old School spun in the castle section. I just saw that on the mini-map. He's lost an entire full safety car. Full safety car in this race. Now, this is interesting. This has massively compromised the likes of Sean and Harry Nowak, who started on the hards. But this could play beautifully into Jono's hands. He's on those medium compound tyres. He can come into the pits, put a set of hard compound tyres on, go to the end of the race. I wonder whether, because B. Morgan's put the medium compound tyres on, and whether Sean and Harry Nowak will take a leaf out of his book and put the medium compound tyres on now as well. and maybe gain a little bit of time on the people behind him on the road. But Old School from a net P3 in this race, massively compromised now with a broken front wing all the way down in 13th place. He's going to be down to last by the time he pits and replaces that front wing, which now promotes Kiki into a net podium position in the second Williams. So he's there to capitalise. Do people come into the pit lane then? Sean's into the pits, Yono's into the pit lane, Harry Nuag stays out. Now this is interesting. He's going to go a bit further into this race, and this is great team tactics, I'd say, from Renault, because Isotopic and all that jumped B Morgan in the pit strategy, so he's now the net race leader, but obviously on hards compared to B Morgan on the soft compound tyres. So now Harry
Nuag mediums.
Yeah, he's gone for the medium tyres. He obviously started on the hards, so he has to go for this. He can't really go for the softs because they will definitely not make it to the end. So, I mean, B Morgan's on the medium tyres as well, so he thinks they can go to the end of the race. So Sean comes out in 10th with a whole queue of hard compound tyre runners right in front of him on the road. So Sean, once again, the one to look out for in this race.
Yeah, he is, if he can take these tyres to the end of the race. He is going to be struggling at the end of the race. 16 laps on the mediums. I mean, it is possible, but tricky.
Yeah, very
tricky. So he
tricky.
really has to be careful.
Yeah, B Morgan's got to take these tyres 18 laps. Obviously, we have got a safety car, but it doesn't make that much of a difference, if we're honest. It doesn't make that much of a difference, really. So B Morgan's got to take these tyres 18 laps. That is a big ask for the mediums. He will probably be within puncture territory by the end of the race, so he's just got to hope, really, to be lucky in this one. So he's taking a gamble, and to be honest, for B Morgan, I don't know why he's taking this gamble, if I'm honest, because the pace he had, I think he could have won this race on the regular strategy anyway. So going for this bit of a gamble seems a little bit too risky.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I mean, his pace is okay. Yeah, or it's just because there's really a lack of grip with the hard tires. He just isn't confident on them, and that's why he's taking this gamble.
Maybe that might be the case. We'll have to wait and see how this one plays out. But obviously, he will have a pace advantage at the start of this one ahead of Isotopic. But we saw really with the medium runners at the opening phase of the race, they had a good start to the race. But then I noticed Sean and Lighty on the hard compound tyres were really swarming all over the back of the medium runners in front of them after about 5 or 6 laps. So I don't think the medium tyres really have that much of a pace advantage, if we're honest, because they kind of die off quite quickly themselves as well. So we'll have to wait and see how this one pans out. But this is beautiful team tactics though from Renault, isn't it? Now they've got a driver in the lead of the race on an alternate strategy. He can really be used almost as just as a blockade, so that Isotopic can't pull away from B Morgan. Yeah,
it is great stuff, and you never know if there's another safety car or virtual safety car, and Harry Nuag is on the right part of the track. He can benefit from that, and it's Renault on P1 and P2. I mean, let's see if he can hold on to his pace for at least 10 laps now.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how this one pays out for him. He'll probably go to the soft compound tyres for the end of the race, hoping for another safety car. And the thing is, as well, around this track, it's not just the tyre grip that you get, but also really the confidence you have on a set of softer compound tyres that you get around this track. So you have the ability to push more, which is why the likes of the people on the medium tyres now, it's really interesting, especially Sean in 10th place. And a lot of those medium runners in front of him, Hero Joking Steph and Martin Bell especially, have already done 5-6 laps on their medium compound tyres. So even though they will make it to the end of the race, they're going to be horrible to drive. They're barely that much older than Harry Nuag in the lead of the race, who could become a bit of a blockade for the hard runners. So Sean, I've said it already, but Sean again, he's in a really good position here.
Yes, and I'm actually a bit surprised that Tekken didn't switch into another set of tyres.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by that as well, that he's still out on those hard tyres, so he's maybe hoping for a later safety car as well to come in. He runs still in 11th place, having not made a stop. So we just wait for Flores to join the back of the queue. Actually has joined the back of the queue, so it looks like we will be getting going at the end of this lap. That'll be 15 laps left in this race to complete, so look out for that one. 15 laps, that's 17 laps for... Yeah, 17 laps, sorry, then for Sean on that set of medium compound tyres. 2 of them obviously not at full speed. And that's 19, I think 18 or 19 laps of B Morgan. I don't think B Morgan's going to get those tyres to the end of the race, if I'm honest. I just don't see it working. Sean's going to be right on the bubble at the best of times as well. So it's going to be really weird to see. And we've already seen though in this race that if there's someone slow at the front of the queue, then you can make double overtakes work. Hero Token and Steph pulled that off beautifully into turn 1, both gaining 2 or 3 places in one corner. So let's wait and see how this one pans out then. Harry Noir will lead the way then at the safety car restart. Once again, Harry Noir leads the way on the alternate strategy, trying something a little bit different. I mean, he started at the back of the field, hopefully hoping for a bit of chaos behind him. Here he goes, and when does he go for the safety car restart? He's keeping a bit of a higher speed than we usually see. Slows down a little bit. We expect him to go maybe at this kink or just before. He's not waiting just yet. He's going to keep it waiting for a little bit longer. This is what you usually see in Formula 2. You don't want to give the people behind that much of a toe down into turn 1. You want to make the toe as short as possible so they can't get a run into the braking zone for turn 1, which is short anyway. People are going side by side by. They're going everywhere in the background, and now he goes, like you say. Good restart then from Harry Noir. Isotopic is away behind him as well. B Morgan under massive pressure though from Kiki. Jan's had a collision with Hero Jokin, so he's got a 5-second time penalty. Kiki down the inside of B Morgan into turn 1, but B Morgan far too late on the brakes. That's a lock-up. Can Kiki get the move done coming out of the corner? B Morgan was meant to be the one on the attack. He's on the defence as Kiki down the inside into turn 2. He's going to put B Morgan in the wall. They just about get away with it, but that's going to allow Jan to get a move down on B Morgan now as well. B Morgan's getting swamped at this restart. Someone spun. That's Jono that spun. Yeah, on those fresh hard compound tires. What a shame for him. B Morgan, they're now behind us. Oh my word, Jan's going to get the move on Kiki as well. What a restart for Jan this has been. He's now up into a net second place. B Morgan was meant to be the one doing the attacking. He got swamped at that restart.
Yeah, and as I just was watching Martin Bell battling, he lost a bit of his front wing, so really unlucky for him. But yeah, Jan is really shining after the restart. He won a couple of positions already, and yeah, to the looks of it, he's trying to get Kiki relatively quickly now.
Yeah, let's see if he can continue forwards and maybe chase after Isotopic. Isotopic, key to his race now that he gets past Harry Noir as quickly as possible. He does not want Harry Noir holding him up so that B Morgan can come back at him later in this race. Let's wait and see how this one pans out. He might try and get the move done before the DRS opens. Harry Noir was right up against the wall coming out of that corner, so he's really pushing. Steph as well, really pushing in that restart, trying to recover, was the early race leader, picked up damage in that opening stint, but he's back up into 6th place and net 5th when Harry Noir pits. So Steph trying to work his way back onto the podium. He's swarming all over the back of B Morgan. B Morgan now trying to re-get the move done on Kiki, but remember, no DRS for the next couple of laps. It's all going to be on pure speed if he has to get the move done, so he might get a little bit stuck, but he's using all of his overtake. He's used about 40% already down this straight. Isotopic's made the move for the lead pretty easily. Harry Noir can't fight back. Can B Morgan get the move done on Kiki into turn 1? He uses a lot of ERS, does a late move down the inside. Kiki runs a little bit wide, but Kiki will get a good enough exit out of turn 1 to hold it. B Morgan using a lot of his ERS and attack, and it didn't work for him, so he's now stuck in 5th place, and that means that the drivers behind him will have an advantage against him when they start to attack. B Morgan's not going to get the move done to turn 3 either, so he's a little bit stuck here. Brilliant for Isotopic though that he's been able to clear Harry Noir, and now he can just drive off into the distance.
Yeah, if he can, because he doesn't do it right now, but probably sector 2, where grip is really important, he will gap him slightly. Yeah.
B Morgan round the outside of turn 5 is going to get the move done. A bit of wheel-to-wheel contact once again, and now here comes Steph trying to capitalise on that mistake from Kiki, but he can't quite get down the inside, so Steph stays and sit. But B Morgan did the move in a different place on the track and gets the move done, so he's now back up into 4th, net 3rd when Harry Noir pits, so he's recovering after that poor safety car restart, but now he's got to try and get past Jan as well, and this is going to take a little bit of life out of those medium tyres as well that have got to make it quite a way into this race. Taking the life out of the mediums is not what he needed to do. Ideally, he needs to get past Isotopic as quickly as possible and just drive off into the distance and then save the tyres. Now he's got a massively attack, and he has a big lock-up as well. Gets away with it, but this pushing and running in dirty air is going to massively cost his tyre wear.
Yeah, it is. I mean, he was able to save them because of the safety car. But yeah, right now they're going to be so hot from driving in dirty air, braking late, accelerating early. Yeah, it's going to take some life out of those tires. And yeah, Isotopic really gapping Harry Noir now.
Yeah. Wow.
And Harry probably is going to hold up Jan a lap longer because he isn't close enough to, in the second DRS zone, to overtake him.
Yeah, Sean once again on the attack. He's tucked right underneath TNR Frederick's rear wing, but obviously no DRS. We couldn't get the move done. Lighty's on the move as well. He's up to 10th place. He's on those medium tyres as well, so look out for him in the latter stage of this race. Old School's up to 12th. Tekken's dropped to 13th on those older hard compound tyres. He's got no pace at this point in this race. Old School then up to 12th, trying to recover after that crash. He was the reason for the safety car A lot of debris in the castle section. It brought the full safety car out, so he's trying to work his way back through the field on that alternate strategy. B Morgan now then stuck behind Jan, so that's his next target. But the problem here for B Morgan now is that he's got Harry Nowag in front of Jan as well. So Harry Nowag, while he can use Harry Nowag as a blockade, it means that Jan's going to get DRS off of Harry Nowag. So Jan has a better opportunity at passing Harry Nowag before B Morgan can pass him.
Yeah, and now we're going to see if they're communicating as well, because it's really important. If Jan is passing Harry, he just has to let B Morgan by as well, because he's going to be suffering massively if he doesn't, and if they start battling in the first two corners.
Yeah, he really will start suffering then. Jan's got a good run then through this final part of the lap. Can he get a good enough run out of this final real corner on the track to get a run at Harry Nowag? I don't think he's going to be quite close enough unless he uses a lot of his ERS, which he's already doing. So he's really going for a run on Harry Nowag, trying to get this done as quickly as possible, closing in rapidly on the running man. Harry Nowag's going to drive to the left hand of the track, try and defend the inside line. B Morgan actually slower in a straight line than Jan, so Jan's trying to get this move done as quickly as possible. It's going to go to the outside line for turn one. Harry Nowag goes all the way to the wall, but I don't think he's got anything in defence here, and now Harry Nowag keeps it tight to the inside, but he's so late on the brakes, and he's going to force Jan off the road, and B Morgan hits him. B Morgan runs into the back of his teammate. Did B Morgan get away with no damage? I think he did, but Kiki is now coming back at him again, so B Morgan swamped once again after contact with his teammate. That was unfortunate. Now Harry Nowag has spun off the front of Lighty's car, so it's all fallen apart for Harry Nowag. And again, B Morgan compromised, this time by his teammate.
Yeah, Harry was, because he was defending so aggressively, and he just made a mistake on his braking point and almost destroyed B Morgan's race. I mean, he lost one position, which isn't great, but if he would have lost his front wing because he tapped Harry, it would be devastating, and they were probably bowed out of contention for this race.
Yeah, that's really compromised his run for the win now, because now this is the point where the hard tyres are starting to come into their own, so he's not going to have this massive pace advantage that he had at the start of the stint anymore. So he's really got to work to get these moves done now, and Jan is starting to gap Kiki ever so slightly as well. And look at Isotopic's lead, he's just driven off into the distance, 4 seconds clear as everything kicks off behind him, so he's kind of running on his own, just waiting for everything to kick off behind him. B Morgan then runs 4th ahead of TNR Steph in 5th, Hero Joke in 6th, Frederick 7th. Sean runs in 8th on those medium tyres, so he's made up a couple places as the carnage is kicking off around him. But the problem for him, as well as B Morgan, is he's stuck right in the middle of a queue of cars, so it's going to be really difficult for him to make the moves, and he hasn't really got any ERS either, so he can't really attack. Old School runs 9th ahead of Lighty in 10th. Lighty got away with no damage after that contact with Harry Nowag, and I think Steve was involved in that as well. I don't think Steve was quite as lucky. We'll have to wait and see if we get a better camera angle, but he's now going for a move on Lighty down towards turn 1. B Morgan's got the move back done on Kiki, who's back up into 3rd place. Here goes Steve then down the inside of Lighty into turn 1. He has got front wing damage, but he's still going to fight it. Lighty, though, drives clean around the outside of him, has better grip, so Lighty just about holds on to 10th place. But Steve, for that front wing damage, you would imagine, will now start to drop back a bit from Lighty as the lap goes on. Meanwhile then, so B Morgan then back up into 3rd place as Harry Nowag's retired in the pit lane, unfortunately. B Morgan back up into 3rd, but again he's got to get this move done on Jan, and that's going to be incredibly difficult for him to pull off.
Yeah, it is, and Isotopic really just driving away from Jan now, and this is probably what Isotopic was hoping for. He made a really surprising early move on Harry. Everyone behind them was battling, and they're still battling. B Morgan's just waiting for an opportunity to pass Jan, and if Isotopic doesn't make a mistake, it's probably his win today.
Yeah, I would say so. He's definitely looking like the favourite at the moment, especially with B Morgan tucked right in this queue of cars. He needed to be all over the back of Isotopic, if not ahead of him, to make this strategy work, and it's not working at the moment for him. He's just been caught up in too many incidents or made mistakes at the safety car restart. Again, another lock-up from Jan coming into that corner. He gets away without hitting the wall, though, so he can continue on. This is a queue from 2nd all the way down to 11th at this point in the race. That's how close these drivers are in terms of pace. A bit of a gap back to Flores, who runs 12th. Martin Bell having pitted for another time in this race, so Sean picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's the first driver I think we've seen with that penalty in this race, so that could have cost him as he's right in the thick of this action as well. But I think he might have a move here, maybe on TNR Frederick. It's 0.3 of a second, but he's got no ERS. It's actually Old School, the one that's on the overtake. Coming around the outside as B Morgan's going to get the move done on Jan into turn 1 this time round, and he gets the move done cleanly, so he's now back up into 2nd place. Meanwhile, Old School gets the move done on Sean and is up into 8th place. So all of a sudden, Old School, having broken his front wing, puts him on the alternate strategy, and now he's in a really good opportunity to work his way back to the front of the field.
Yeah, he is, and he's really conservative with his EOS as well. So
Mm.
yeah, he's doing great, and on the long straight, the start-finish straight, you could see if you don't have any EOS left, as Sean had, what a yeah, you're just that much slower than the rest around you, and you're just an easy target.
Yeah, it's probably better really when you're in this situation to just sit and wait and save the ORS, and then when the queue starts to spread out as the tire wear comes in, then you make your overtakes because it's obviously a lot easier. Even though Old School was conservative on his ZRS, he had to use about 30% of his ZRS to get that move done, so that is a lot to use. You need to wait until the pack starts to break up towards the end of the race to get those moves done. But Old School then up into 8th place. Frederick, his next target in the Alfa Romeo, as Old School has a big slide though coming out of the castle section, and now Sean all over the back of him once again. Old School though uses his overtake to defend the place, so he'll hold on to 8th coming down into the next corner. Keeps that 8th place on the road then, as Frederick is the one starting to become a little bit detached from this queue of cars. Then B Morgan into 2nd place. It's really closing in on Isotopic in terms of pace. It's down to 3.5 seconds already, but you would imagine at this point in the race Isotopic has done just enough to hold on to this.
Yeah, I think so, because it isn't gonna take that long before B Morgan's tires are really going off, and he's gonna suffer, and will become under pressure of Jan and Iki, who is a little bit detached of Jan as well, and coming under pressure of Steph now.
It's late on the brakes, but just not a long enough braking zone for turn 1, so he has to back out of it. But Steph now the one on charge.
Yeah, he is. Kiki just can't hold the space, and I don't believe he has any damage, but yeah, it's asking a lot of him, and Steph is doing a great job after yeah, just probably bottling it in what was it, lap 4 or 5 or something. Yeah, he's back up, and yeah, if he can keep up this pace and pass Kiki relatively quickly now, he's not out for a podium finish as well.
Yeah, I think it's a shame. It's a case of what if really for Steph, because before we made that mistake and broke his front wing, he was easily out in front ahead of both of B Morgan and Isotopic and looked pretty comfortable in the race lead. So he'll be gutted not to be in that position, but he's trying to work his way back towards a podium slot, which is not out of reach. He's faster than Kiki, and Kiki is not much slower than Jan in front as well, and B Morgan on degrading mediums. Meanwhile, Old School and Sean going at it. Old School crashed again in the castle section, I wonder. He's wide out of the corner. Sean's back through. Has Old School picked up any damage? Let's wait and see when they pass us on the camera. He has. Yet again, Old School's crashed in the castle section. He's going for a move on Sean into the next corner, but not a smart move if you have that amount of front wing damage to keep racing people around you. It's only going to cost you more time. You're trying to go back for a move on Sean, but it's not going to get done. You might get it for a move on the straight, but with that amount of front wing damage, I just don't see the worth in the risk of taking that risk, really going for that move. Old School though, for the second time in this race, great opportunity for him to score good points and close back in on Simply Superman and B Morgan in the championship, and he's thrown it away once again.
Yeah, he did, and I'm surprised he doesn't pit, because he's on the medium tires with front wing damage, which is yeah, just gonna use up his tires even faster than normally. So yeah, I think it's race over for him today.
Yeah, that is such a shame for Old School then. Sean works his way past Frederick up into 7th place, but Frederick has really lost pace on these tyres. He's dropped to nearly 3 seconds behind Hero Joking, so Frederick at the moment on these hard compound tyres, they're 11 laps old, just cannot keep pace with the people in front of him. Now Old School's going for a move. That's really late on the brakes into turn 3. Frederick leaves him the space, but Old School, it was kind of a half-hearted ditch attempt down the inside, and it cost him more than it gained him. So now he's going to be under massive pressure from Lighty behind, who's also on those medium tyres, trying to work his way through the field. Sean then up into 7th place, but you would expect that now 8 laps on those medium tyres is when they start to fall off, and you would expect that from here on in it's going to be incredibly difficult for Sean to gain any more places.
Yeah, it is. I think this is what it is for Sean. As maybe it's going to be under pressure of Frederick again, but I don't think so, because he's really struggling on 11 old hard tires. And in the meanwhile, B Morgan is just in what is it, 3 laps, 1.4 seconds on Isotopic. So it's really closing in fast now.
It's got really, really good pace. He is continuing to close in, but I just wonder whether Isotopic's just managing this at this point. We'll wait and see as the race goes on. Still a long way to go. 8 laps in this race. Well, 7 when we cross the line. left to go in this one, and that's still a long way for those medium tyres to go. Jan still running in a comfortable third place, but Steph made the move on Kiki. Kiki made a mistake through the turn 7 hairpin and allowed Steph through before the castle section. Kiki trying to come back at him, but he has absolutely no ERS in his attack, and Steph is not using any of his to defend, so I wonder if he's going to go for the move. He isn't, so he stays in 5th place as Old School now loses the place to Lighty, and Old School is into the pit lane then. As, oh my word, Steph, what a snap of... Wow, Hero Joking going for the move as well, and Steph, massive snap of oversteer there coming out of turn 1, just about held on to it, but my word, that was all over the road. He holds on to 4th, and now Hero Joking trying to go for the move down towards turn 3. Again, not close enough though, so he sticks in 6th place for the time being. Sean is slightly closing in on these two, but not by enough really to challenge them at this point in the race. But at the moment, Kiki and Steph, the one on the oldest hard compound tyres, and especially you can see it in Kiki, and Steph with his wobble out of turn 1, they're already starting to struggle for pace.
Yeah, they are, and because of the mistake of Steph in the traction zone out of turn 1, it straddled Kiki a bit, and Hero Joken almost went into the back of Kiki because of that. But yeah, they're using up their tires really badly now, and yeah, it's really hard to keep the car on track and keep your pace, especially on these tires, and that's why I'm really. Hats off for Bean Morgan, who's really just don't know where he gets the space from on 10 laps old meetings, but he's really doing good today.
He is doing a very good job, and like I said earlier on in qualifying, making a real case for himself to be the championship favourite at this point in the season, but we have to wait and see how this strategy pans out for him. Jan, like I said, still running in a comfortable 3rd place, the first to capitalise if it does go wrong for B Morgan. Does B Morgan though recognise it early enough and come into the pit lane and try and counteract the strategy? If he knows that it's not going to work, we'll have to wait and see, or does he just stick it out to the end and hope that he doesn't get a puncture at the end of the race? Another shout as well as Kiki goes back for a move past Steph, so just as we thought Kiki was losing his pace, he gets the move done on Steph again. Runs a little bit wide at turn 1 though. Can Steph get the move done towards turn 2? Not quite close enough, but these two so similarly matched in pace, but neither of them can really pull away, and Hero Jokin's just sat there at the moment waiting for something to happen, it seems. Sean losing pace, it seems, to these guys in front now, so his medium tyres maybe starting to go off a little bit. Shout out as well, I would say, to Martin Bell. Martin Bell picked up front wing damage on that first lap of that safety car restart, came into the pit lane for the 2nd time and put a fresh set of medium compound tyres on, and he's already worked his way back inside the top 10 and is only 9 seconds off the back of Frederick, and we've seen Frederick lose pace drastically on these tyres, and there's 3 people in front of him on much older medium tyres and 2 drivers in front of him who are already on 15 lap or hard, so it's not out of the question yet that Martin Bell could continue to work his way through the field.
Yeah, but 8 seconds it's a lot, and it's not taking long before his tyres will go off as well, so don't think he can win more places than he did already. But yeah, great comeback from him, as Old School passes Tekken, and probably one of these guys are going to go for the fastest lap.
Yeah, and I think
Old School on his fresh soft tires.
I want to say Steve at the moment holds the fastest lap of the race on his soft tyres as well, but you would imagine Old School will take that from him. We'll wait and see how this one plays out. Just looking at Martin Bell, meanwhile, his gap at the end of the first sector to Frederick in front was 8.5 seconds, so just bear that in mind for the next time they come through that sector 1 split. We'll see how much he's gaining in a lap. He's already down to 7.7, so it's taken nearly a second out of him in the final set in the middle sector alone, so we'll wait and see how that goes on. B Morgan, meanwhile, continuing to close in on Isotopic, 1.1 seconds, so while everyone else on the mediums is starting to struggle, he's continuing on.
Yeah, he really has good pace on his tires, and they're 12 laps old, so yeah, we can prepare for a final battle for P1, which is, I think, gonna be good, because Isotopic is a good defender, B Morgan is a good attacker, so this is gonna be great stuff.
Yeah, and these two at the moment so far in this race, Steve picks up the fast lap in a row. These two really have been the class of the field today. No one's really become, apart from Steph obviously at the start, but he made his own mistake and since then hasn't really been able to recover any further than 5th at this point. But these two really have been the class of the field today. Once again, B Morgan right at the front of the field, while Simply Superman's not here and Old School's down in 13th, so this puts B Morgan massively in front in the championship. As Isotopic, oh my word, how on earth he didn't hit the wall in the middle of the castle section, I don't know, but he's starting to struggle now. He made a little bit of an error. B Morgan can smell blood. It's 0.3 of a second. He looks like he wants to get this move done as early as possible so that he can continue to extend these mediums to the end and not stick in the dirty air of the racing point in front. But B Morgan, if he can pull this off, that would be a great strategy for him, and that would be brilliantly read. He's all over the back of him, and you would imagine B Morgan can get this move done pretty easily.
Yeah. On this straight, he should be, even though his ERS manage hasn't been that great. But yeah, you have to come from far way back. And here they go for round 1 tonight.
Yeah, round 1, he goes to the inside line, he's running out of ERS, but he goes for the move. Isotopic not using really any in his defence, so he actually lets B Morgan through. So B Morgan into the race lead. Isotopic didn't put up that much of a fight. He drops down into 2nd place. Does Isotopic think that B Morgan can't make it to the end? We'll wait and see. Or does B Morgan maybe have a speeding penalty that we don't know about? We'll have to wait and see. But Isotopic drops into 2nd place behind B Morgan. So now B Morgan, can he stretch his legs and break that DRS to Isotopic? Or can Isotopic stick with him for the rest of this race and maybe make a move towards the end of the race and get that lead back? We'll wait and see. Further down, Steph and Kiki still going at it, and Steph gets the move done down towards turn 3 this time, so he's back up into 4th place, and Hero Jokin still sat there in 6th place, just not able to make a move.
Yeah, but if you're the 2nd man down trying for an overtake, it's nearly impossible. The only one is before turn 1 on the long straight, but the other DRS sections, you're just no chance of overtaking them.
It's been 2 laps since I mentioned that Martin Bell was 8.5 seconds behind Frederick at the end of the first sector. It's down to 5 seconds. He's flying.
Yeah.
As Kiki and Steph are still going at it. I think Steph's made a mistake this time. He's broken his front wing again. Not again for Steph. Just like old school, in a good position to pick up points, has massively broken his front wing. So from a potential 4th place in this race, Steph is out. And he hits the wall again, gets away with it. But Steph is going to drop well down the field. He has to pit with that amount of front wing damage, and that will drop him outside the top 10, probably behind old school at this point in the race. He's going to drop quite a far ways back with that front wing change. So what was looking like a great night for Steph with his first pole of the season, looks one of the fastest in the field. It's just not worked out for him today.
No, it hasn't. And I really expected a lot from him after qualifying, because I really didn't see it coming. I mean, great stuff, but yeah, just unlucky now. Maybe a bit too eager, taking a bit too much risk, and in a pace he isn't comfortable with in the race.
Yeah. We were talking earlier on about Frederick losing pace on these hard tyres. He dropped behind Sean and Lighty, and then since they passed them, he's re-caught them. So Frederick all of a sudden now has the better tyres than the medium riders in front of him, and Lighty's on the same lap in terms of length of medium tyres as B Morgan. They've still got 2 laps to go when they cross the line, so still a long way to go in this race, and it is a long lap. So Frederick doing a good job on in these hard tyres to stick with the medium riders in front, and Sean does have a time penalty, so he could jump them, but Martin Bell is flying behind these guys.
Yeah.
It's down to 3.2. That's nearly 2 seconds a lap faster. So I don't think he'll catch, well, he might catch Sean the penalties, and he could pass Frederick and Lighty on track if he can get there and make the move stick almost immediately. So Martin Bell not out of the question that he could pick up a P6 finish after 2 pit stops.
Yeah. Slowly but surely, I'm starting to believe.
Yeah. Yeah, and now Frederick's now just picked up a 3-second time penalty as well. So now he's already got that place on Frederick.
Yeah, he does. And I thought Isotopic was out of the DRS range for a bit. Yeah, Isotopic really struggling. I wasn't expecting this, but B Morgan is gapping him now.
Wow. I wasn't expecting this either. I was expecting Isotopic to stick right to the back of B Morgan and just hold it to the end of the race and maybe go for a move on the last lap. But at the moment, B Morgan doing a very good job in these mediums, while Sean Lighty just continue to fall off the pace at this point in the race. B Morgan still holding easy pace at the front of the field, still one of the fastest people on the track, so he's doing a brilliant job at maintaining these medium tyres. Can he pick up 3 race victories in a row? Frederick then down the inside of Lighty. He gets the move done on Lighty, so he's really struggling on his medium tyres, and Frederick is upper place into 7th place. So Lighty drops to 8th, and now it's Martin Bell who'll be the first person to catch Lighty. Let's see what he can do about him. It's 2.2 seconds coming out of turn 2. Look what it is by the end of the first sector. We'll wait and see, but Martin Bell looking very fast in that racing point where he could have been without that front wing damage at the end of that safety car restart. But we'll wait and see where he can get to. A bit further back as well, Old School on the back of Flores for 10th place on the road. Again, Flores doing a solid job of staying out of trouble and picking up the points where he can, but you would imagine Old School on those fresh soft compound tyres could get that move done pretty easily. Yellow flag in sector 2. B Morgan's crashed!
Yeah.
Wow! Oh my word!
Puncture? No.
He doesn't have a No, his tyres look dead and he's just put it in the wall. So from what could have been a race victory on a brilliant strategy, our championship leader throws away a third race victory in a row and is going to drop possibly outside the top. He's going to drop outside the top 10 because of it.
Yeah, he does.
Wow.
He does. Wow.
What a turn of events. My word, this race was crazy, but my word, I did not expect that from B. Morgan. He's looked unassailable. He's looked so good all season long. Hasn't put a foot wrong all season. And he's thrown away an easy victory here with a lap and a half to go. He's already going to be off the podium. Kiki could finally get that first podium of the season for him, but he's got Hero joking directly behind him, trying to steal it off him, trying to get his second podium of the season. B. Morgan's going to dive into the pit lane. You would imagine, no, he's going to stay out.
No.
He's not coming in, he's just going to stay out with the damage and hope to hold on towards the end, and he holds third against Kiki, but has a double front lock up into turn one. He's got no braking power, and he loses both of those places coming out the corner, but this has allowed Hero Jokin to have a run at Kiki, and Hero Jokin's had massively saved his ERS, so this could be an easy move for Hero Jokin. Maybe does he go now? He is going to go for it now, down towards turn three. He's going to go to the inside line, he's going to go for the move. Can he get on the podium? Can he get the move done? Kiki late on the brakes around the outside. Oh my word, that's really deep, and he's put it in the wall now. Another opportunity for a podium for Kiki gone as well. Two drivers in with a shout of a podium, throwing it away in the final few laps of the race. And Hero Jokin's now ended up on the podium. Sean's coming through maybe for a fourth on the road. Martin Bell's only a second behind Lighty. Frederick's got a penalty as well. It's blown up in the last couple laps. But Isotopic all of a sudden looked like he'd lost this one. And with a mistake from B. Morgan has regained it back.
Yeah, incredible. It is so eventful, the end of that race. I mean, we've had some incredible races before, and this may not be as eventful as some races we've seen this season and last season. But yeah, even though this is an incredible race and so much going on.
Yeah, B. Morgan's now lost two places to both Sean and Frederick on track. Lighty and Martin Bell were side by side, and now Lighty trying to go for the move, but we'll jump back with Isotopic. Isotopic lost so much pace at the end of the race that Jan nearly caught him, but Isotopic is going to come through to win the race. That'll be his first race victory in TTML, I believe. He comes up to win. He's our third race winner of the season. Jan comes through in second place with a 5-second time penalty, but that won't be enough to drop him any places. Jan with another podium. Great race from him. Hero Jokin will finish in third. Kiki fourth. Here comes Sean to the line. Here comes Frederick. Frederick's going to beat him to the line. My word, and they both had penalties. And Martin Bell went up fifth on a two-stop strategy. Brilliant comeback from Martin Bell. Lighty ends up in sixth. Good comeback from him as well after a disastrous qualifying. Frederick seventh ahead of Sean eighth. B. Morgan ninth in the end. What a disaster for him. Old School ends up in 10th place after a two-stop strategy. Steph 11th in the fastest lap. Steph nearly passed Old School on the line. There was 25 thousandths between them, but he couldn't get the move done. Flores ends up 12th. Tekken 13th. Steve 14th. He can't pick up fastest lap. And Yono nearly a lap down. He's still got half a lap to go before he can finish the race, but at least he's going to get the points for finishing down in 15th. B. Morgan leaves. As you can expect, he's probably really angry with how the end of that race happened, but it was our podium predictions were well off in the end. Kiki ended up on the podium because of a penalty for Hero Jokin. So Kiki, even with the front wing damage, does get that podium spot. So he gets his first podium in the season. He's finished fourth. It feels like 20,000 times that Kiki's finished fourth this season, but he finally gets that first podium. But brilliant drive from Isotopic, and in the end, it was B. Morgan that bottled under pressure.
Yeah, it was, and Isotopic was just 1.2 seconds in front of Jan, but just kept it clean all race. And B. Morgan, just devastating for him. I mean, being in P1 and finishing in, what was it, P9?
Yeah, P9 in the end. Only one place ahead of Old School, and Old School had a disastrous race today, so that just goes to show how much he lost. Lighty picks up drive of the day for the most places gained, and to be fair, it was a good race, and Lighty stayed well out of trouble, gets a P6 for his reward as well. Martin Bell, what a comeback after picking up damage at that safety car restart, pitted immediately and worked his way back up into fifth, obviously helped by people crashing at the end of the race, but that's all part of the game. You've got to keep it clean, you've got to keep it at the wall, you're not going to make those mistakes, and Martin Bell came back for a fifth place finish where he could have been without that front wing damage. He was less than a pit stop behind his teammate Isotopic at the end of the race, so who knows? It could have been a race in point 1-2 in this one. But Isotopic then, our third race winner of the season, his first race victory in TTML. Jan picks up another podium. That helps him in his battle in the championship. Currently equal fourth in the standings, if I remember correctly. He is equal fourth with Hero Jokin, and he outscores Hero Jokin, Simply Superman not here, and he outscores Old School as well. That could put Jan into second in the championship, so look out for him. And he's much closer now to B Morgan because of it as well. Kiki on the podium for the first time ahead of Hero Jokin fourth, misses out on the podium because of a speeding penalty. Martin Bell in fifth on debut ahead of Lighty and Stick. He's going to gain a lot of points in the championship as well. Frederick and Sean seventh and eighth ahead of B Morgan. What a shame for him, and Old School as well. Both of their races curtailed by damage. 3 stops in the end for Old School in that one. Steph 11th. 3 of the fastest people in the lobby all crashing. Flores, Tech and Steve all finished the race as well. And we had a couple of retirees in that one. Damon out early in the race as well, along with, I can't actually remember who the other retiree was in that race. It was such a crazy race. Harry Nawag. Sorry, yeah, Harry Nawag was the other retiree in that race. So my word, what a crazy end to that race. It was like they always predict in real life. They always say it's going to happen at the end of the race, and you know what? It did. It blew up at the end of the race, and Isotopic now puts himself forward as a championship contender.
Yeah, well, a lot of guys did.
Yeah.
Yeah, just incredible. But yeah, Isotopic, great win today. Really, really great stuff from him. He wasn't far behind, and yeah, it's just it's getting closer and closer. We've got so many different winners already.
Yeah. Nice and clean, mistake-free race from Isotopic. Wasn't necessarily the fastest person tonight, but was fast enough to challenge all the way through, and was the only one at the front of the field, apart from Jan, that kept it clean the whole way through. So, great stuff from Isotopic. Great stuff from Jan as well. Jan, without that speeding penalty, imagine if he would have pushed maybe a little bit harder at the end of that race, because he nearly stole the win on track ahead of Isotopic at the end. He was so fast at the end of that race, and that puts Jan right in the thick of things for the championship as well. Just as we were thinking that B Morgan could be the championship favourite and could massively extend his championship lead now is all but eradicated.
Yeah, just because of one mistake. He was he was leading easily, wasn't under pressure, and one mistake can really blow up your race, and going from P1 from hero to zero.
Yeah, and that is the problem with Baku as well. One mistake and it's game over, really. There's nowhere to escape around this track, and we saw that multiple times today. But that was, again, another great race. D3 this season has been remarkable. It's been so great to watch. And another championship challenger, well, a couple more championship challengers enter the ring. 3 winners in 4 races. Brilliant stuff from these guys. I wonder if we're going to get a 4th winner next time out. Next time out, it is France. So another new track to the calendar, obviously, as well. And that is another completely different track. Miles of run-off, a very high-speed track, a lot of long corners. Very difficult on the tyres as well. So look out for that one to be an interesting racing strategy. And it's a lot easier to overtake around France as well. So look out for that one being a great race. But thank you everyone for tuning in today. It's been another great race. Thank you everyone for commenting on the stream. Thank you Conti again for joining me in the commentary box. It's always a pleasure to commentate alongside you in Division 3. Tune in to League Racing TV as well on YouTube tomorrow at the same time at 8 PM for the Division 4 and 5 races at Baku. Obviously they will be just as good as races, we hope, as D3 as well. Look out for those ones. Look out for Conti as well. I believe you're driving tomorrow as well, aren't you, Conti?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, you are. So fingers crossed for Conti. Cheer him on. Go cheer Conti on for the race, which I know I will be doing. And then also tune into driver streams for CRC at the weekends as well. 8 PM on Saturday and Sunday for the touring car and the IndyCar races. But yeah, like I said, from myself and Conti, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you again this time next week. Goodbye.